The board and the family were informed by Marcus that I would succeed him as president. What happens when two individuals who co-founded a kingdom and left a legacy of inspiration and optimism part ways, each with their own issues and realities? Marcus Lamb revealed startling details about his personal life to his wife, Joni Lamb. Behind the scenes, the noise grew louder and fissures emerged that threatened all they had fought so hard to achieve. Could they have realized what they were going to do that would permanently alter their lives, even though everyone was watching? There are unexpected turns in this tale of love, devotion, and the ultimate test of faith. What ultimately caused things to shift in a way that nobody anticipated? A shocking piece of fresh information has raised eyebrows and sparked debates among Christians worldwide. Dr. Doug Weiss has been such a blessing to me, my family, and Daystar since I married him. There was a great deal of bewilderment and mistrust when Joni Lamb, the late Marcus Lamb's widow, chose to wed renowned marriage counselor Doug Weiss just a few months after her husband's passing. Was it truly a divine decision, or was it merely a heartfelt response to loss and a chain of events that nobody could have predicted? Those who had known Joni and Marcus for a long time saw their marriage as an expression of their love and faith. As a mother and a grandmother, I can tell you that this situation makes my heart hurt very much. Together they created a massive company through the Daystar TV network, inspiring millions of people with their message of love, optimism, and solidarity. However, what happens if the man who is standing next to you abruptly departs, leaving a void that no one can cover? Was Joni prepared for the next step? A few weeks had passed since the Lord had instructed her to pick a comment. This is because I frequently receive emails that say things like, "You enjoyed seeing your co-host with your husband," and so on. Select a note and respond to it, he said. When Susie noticed that it contained something about Doug, she walked out. Then she turned and walked away. She made a sort of statement. There were rumors circulating regarding when she might wed Doug Weiss. A few even believed that Doug had been seeing Joni prior to Marcus's passing, which tainted their connection. Why did she marry so soon after Marcus's passing? Was she merely seeking companionship, or was there another reason behind her abrupt decision to begin seeing a man who was still recovering from his own divorce? Those who disliked it weren't timid. A few months after Marcus's death, Doug Weiss and his wife Lisa, whom he had been married to for over 30 years, divorced. When they split up, many in the church community were taken aback and questioned whether he was truly exhibiting the principles he had taught for decades. People were forced to question whether Doug, who had spent so much time teaching couples, truly thought marriage was important, or if his counsel was a front. The lady who forces him to do horrible things only cares about him and his addiction, misery, and lack of development. But I want to say this, he added. You are not to blame for their choices, whether you are married to someone else, or just engaged. I'll give you my life for 30 days straight, 100%. Follow your instructions to the letter. If my life doesn't improve in 30 days, I'm going to commit suicide. Rumors of Doug and Lisa's connection continued to circulate as the volume of inquiries increased. Doug had long advocated for marriage restoration in public. Why, therefore, did he choose to dissolve his own marriage so soon? The fact that he got divorced only 2 months after Marcus Lamb's death made it even more suspicious. Doug was trying to find a way out of a chilly marriage. Perhaps there was more going on. When Doug continued to operate his marriage counseling center without disclosing to his clients or employees that his own marriage had ended, the breakup grew even more contentious. While his own marriage was failing, he was requesting large sums of money for therapy, despite the fact that many of his clients sought his assistance with their own troubled marriage. They were unaware of the reality about his personal life. Well, you should protect your marriage anyway, since we want a Christian marriage. Okay? To do that, you should pray together each day. As we have already discussed, if you like to express your opinions, do so daily. Praise one another. Every day I tell you I love this about you. My wife is here today, so we do this. Tell them,
you're great.
Tonight we will do it. Last night was the time. We'll do it the following evening. Critics claimed that Doug was lying to his clients and deceiving them into believing that his marriage was flawless, while in reality it was having issues behind closed doors. According to others, he would have been a more reliable advisor for those experiencing similar issues if he had been more forthcoming about his own marital issues. As the narrative progressed, an increasing number of worrisome details emerged. Many people found it hard to accept that Doug had accused Lisa of abuse after their divorce. Doug had been telling everyone for years that Lisa was a wonderful mother and wife, but he had a change of heart after the breakup. Had he been lying about his marriage all along, or was he finally telling the truth? Some even speculated that Doug may have fabricated these allegations to make his split appear reasonable. "And we've done it for more than 30 years, remarked Doug. "My Joni is doing fantastically. I do the same thing to my sweetheart." "Yeah, make sure you go ahead and do that. When he lays with me at night, I feel so safe." "Sure, because his heart is audible." "Yes, I pray with her. However, you should also compliment her." "But you've always done that." "Yes, you do. You do that every time." "Make sure you're meeting, that you have regular sex, and that your finances are in order. That's the kind of thing you should do. For a marriage to be happy and healthy, those are the most crucial factors. You want to protect that because of that. It's time to pray." "Joni, do you have one more thing to say?" "It was the Lord's way of letting us know that He is still teaching us things. I was going back to school and it was a pretty cool dream. I was just going to say quickly that you had the coolest dream the other night where you and I were in school, going back to school." Soon after his divorce, Doug began dating Joni Lamb, which made an already difficult situation considerably worse. Was this only a rebound, or was this a genuine link? Many questioned whether Joni was acting rashly because she was grieving and making judgments on her loss. Did their friendship simply develop over time, or had Doug exploited her feelings? Joni's son, Jonathan Lamb, publicly expressed his serious concerns regarding his mother's union with Doug. He claimed to have witnessed his mother's transformation since she began dating Doug. He feared that she was becoming enmeshed in a brief romance without fully understanding the consequences. Jonathan even believed that since Marcus's passing, Doug had been using Joni's vulnerability. Two people falling in love was not the only thing happening. In the public view, it was about two people's values, religion, and honesty. After decades of advising people on marriage, Doug Weiss appeared to be acting contrary to his own advice. Many started to question whether he was actually upholding the principles he had discussed in his treatment sessions. Did he genuinely believe that marriage was a lifelong commitment, or was his counsel merely a means for him to profit off the suffering of others? When all was said and done, the story of Joni Lamb and Doug Weiss became more than a personal one. It evolved into a cautionary tale about the consequences of acting impulsively when depressed and the significance of upholding your moral principles. Some interpreted it as a warning that no one is secure regardless of their level of popularity or importance. It served as a reminder to some that life, love, and faith are far more challenging than we would like to believe. How did Doug and Joni affect one another? Was it a therapeutic act or something else entirely? There are still unanswered concerns, and the controversy surrounding their relationship stirs emotions. While some will interpret it as a heartbreaking tale of love, others will see it as evidence that even the most admirable people can make mistakes. But one thing is certain, Doug Weiss and Joni Lamb will always be associated with a tale that challenges us to consider honesty, faith, and the choices we make when our lives are completely upended. I won't reveal Susie's and my current location since we don't feel safe at home. Joni advised her that I was to stay in the role that God had called me to and not leave. As of this afternoon, all of the evidence has been given to multiple national reporters, she stated. They should write about some stories that will be in the news shortly. Julie Roys has been given all of it, and is writing a story that will be out soon. We had no idea this would be our life, she stated. In this world, faith and family are often linked, and grief, desire, and unbridled emotions can sometimes destroy even the best marriages. The death of Marcus Lamb's devoted wife, Joni Lamb, in 2021 was the worst thing that could have happened to her. For months and months we begged God to take a different path, but in the end we have to obey. What if He says, you know what, you have to speak up, which is the harder path? It would have been easy to leave. Marcus was more than just her husband to Joni. He was her partner in life and in faith, helping to create Daystar television network, and together they built one of the most significant Christian networks, sharing their message of faith and hope with millions of people worldwide. When Marcus passed away, however, Joni was faced with a life without him that she had not prepared for, and it caused her to reevaluate everything, including her role as a Christian media star, and her place in the world. Many in the Christian community were upset about her marriage to Doug Weiss, a well-known marriage counselor, who had been divorced just months after Marcus's death, and because of the time, location and the people involved, it was impossible to ignore the story. Many people wanted to know why Joni chose to marry Doug so soon after her husband's death. There was a lot of fuss about Joni and Doug's marriage when rumors began to circulate that they were dating, with some speculating that Doug had been seeing Joni prior to Marcus's death, citing their close work ties and membership in the same ministry. However, the real storm began when Doug's own troubled marriage came to light, and many people found it strange that he got a divorce from his wife Lisa just 2 months after Marcus's death. If that's the case, why didn't he take the time to make amends with Lisa before starting a family with Joni? Christians were still grieving over Marcus's death for weeks after it happened. The Lamb family was known for their strong morals, their religious commitment, and their many years of working together in service, but now they were in a state of uncertainty. Marcus's death left a hole in both Joni's personal life and the direction of Daystar, and as everyone watched, she seemed to turn her attention to Doug Weiss, a man going through his own personal turmoil after his marriage ended abruptly. Doug Weiss had been a well-known figure in Christian marriage therapy for a long time. Many people looked up to his books, workshops, and marriage advice, and his ministry helped a great number of couples who were having relationship issues. However, despite being a counselor, his personal life was not as stable as his professional life suggested. Doug and Lisa were married for more than 30 years before they divorced. One of the first indications that something was wrong was that Doug and Lisa got divorced after more than 30 years of marriage, during which time they had built a life together, raised children, and worked in service together. Doug had publicly spoken about the importance of fighting for your relationship and the sanctity of marriage, but his own marriage ended, which led many to question the truth of his advice. Marcus had already passed away 2 months prior to Doug's divorce from Lisa, raising questions about whether his decision to marry Joni Lamb was really about healing him, or if it was a way for him to fill the emotional void left by his failed marriage, and what kind of person could be in this situation when his job was to teach others about the value of marriage. Their marriage appeared stable on the outside, but behind the scenes, things were really unraveling. Doug and Lisa had a tense relationship for years, and in the months leading up to their divorce, Doug began to claim that his wife had abused him. This came at a strange moment, as many people who had known them for years believed that Lisa was a wonderful wife and mother, but many didn't believe him, and assumed that he was just making this up to justify his decision to end the marriage and move on. When Doug's split became public, many questioned his qualifications as a marriage counselor, asking how he could keep advising others to follow the same rules he couldn't even keep his own marriage intact. The trouble began when Doug began dating Joni Lamb, a few months after their divorce. Although Joni was still grieving over Marcus's passing, it appeared that she had begun dating someone else without giving herself enough time to recover. Was Doug exploiting her weakness, or were they simply seeking solace from one another after losing someone? Their friendship grew stronger in the months that followed, and soon they were engaged, which shocked many people, because Joni had been married to Marcus for a long time. How could she have gotten engaged so quickly? A lot of people spoke out against the couple, claiming that both Joni and Doug had moved without considering the future. For Joni, the brief romance with Doug seemed to help her deal with her grief, but for those who knew her and Marcus well, this abrupt change in her life caused them to worry. Some people questioned whether Joni was seeking a father figure for her children, or if she was drawn to Doug because he was there for her when she needed him. Additionally, Doug had recently gotten divorced a few months prior to getting married again. Regardless of the motivations, some believed that Joni's decision to wed Doug was rash and poorly considered. Both the Lamb family and the Christian community at large had concerns regarding Joni and Doug's marriage.